finally got an update on the Batman 2. They're expected to begin shooting the movie next year during spring, according to Warner Bros. I'm going to read this article for y'all from Variety.com. Shout out to Variety. It says, good news for fans of Robert Pattinson's Dark Knight. Okay, Variety, you guys already started off this article completely wrong. Don't ever compare Robert Pattinson's The Batman to Christian Bale's The Dark Knight. Don't do that, okay? In my opinion, I think the Batman was trash, right? Now, I will say this. I love the way that the movie was shot, right? Like the scenery and the background music and, you know, I love the way that the Batman was shot. It was a beautifully filmed movie, right? Shout out to Matt Reeves on that. But as far as Robert Pattinson's portrayal of Bruce Wayne, I think it was terrible, right? There was always supposed to be a difference between Bruce Wayne and Batman, right? Bruce Wayne is the laid back playboy. He's the playboy bachelor, right? He's a player, never married, but he always has multiple girlfriends that he's dealing with. You know, obviously he's rich. I think Bruce Wayne is a billionaire, right? He's a playboy, right? And then when he's portraying Batman, he's more dark, right? Talks with a darker voice. You know, way more, evil, violent, you know what I'm saying? He's protecting the city of Gotham against crime, right? There was always supposed to be a separation between Bruce Wayne and Batman. And my problem with the Batman is I don't think there's any difference between Bruce Wayne and Batman. I think the way that Robert Pattinson played Bruce Wayne, I think that he made it extremely obvious in the movie that he was Batman, right? I think he made it so obvious, bro. Like the guy was just extremely quiet, didn't really talk much, right? Looked like he was gothic. You understand what I'm saying? Always looked sad, always looked depressed, always looked stressed out. You know what I'm saying? Especially that scene where they walked into the building before remember when the building exploded into Batman? I think that scene just gave it away to everybody that this guy was Batman. So I didn't like that. I think the movie was way too long. You understand what I'm saying? And my only favorite part of the Batman really was the Penguin scene. You know, I think the guy that played the Penguin, he did a tremendous job. And to piggyback off of that, the Penguin series was pure cinema, bro. That Penguin series, bro, was incredible. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Because the Penguin was directed by Matt Reeves just like the Batman was, and he did such a good job with the Penguin, now I'm actually excited to see the Batman 2. Because before that, I had no interest in seeing any more Batman movies with Robert Pattinson. Now, if you go on the internet, right? All on the internet, apparently Robert Pattinson is the best Batman ever, right? Like people think that he did a better job than Christian Bale. And to those people out there, I think you guys are on some serious hardcore drugs. Now, I will say this. When I used to smoke weed, right, I used to do this thing where I would go to the movies, right, either with my girl at the time or the homies, right? And I always used to smoke weed before I went to the movies. And I will say this. Smoking weed before watching a movie made the movie like 50 times more exciting, right? I would pay attention to every single detail. My hearing was enhanced off the weed, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Alien OG I used to smoke back in the day, you know what I'm saying? But y'all must be smoking some serious shit to actually fix your mouth to say that Robert Pattinson's Batman is better than Christian Bale's. That's cap, right? Like, when you look at all of the Christian Bale Batman movies, Batman Begins, obviously The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, all three of those movies are better than the Batman, by far. So, with that being said, let's continue this article. In Warner Bros. Discovery recent letter to shareholders, the company announced that Matt Reeves' long-awaited The Batman 2 will finally begin filming in spring 2026 for an October 2027 theatrical release. Guys, why is it taking so long for this movie to come out with a sequel, right? Like at this point, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, bro. I think they shouldn't come out with a Batman 2, and they should just move on and wait for James Gunn's DC Universe Batman. Because, I mean, the Batman, let's look at when that movie came out. I think the Batman came out in 2022, right? Yeah, it came out in 2022. Part 2 was supposed to come out, I believe, last year, 2024. It got pushed back because Matt Reeves took so damn long on the script. And you know what? I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that Matt Reeves took a long time on the script, because even though according to the internet, people think this movie was incredible, I think that Matt Reeves heard all of the negative things that people were saying about the Batman. And I think that he's just making sure that this second one is better than the first one, right? How many times have we seen the sequel to the movie and the sequel is worse than the first one, right? So I appreciate Matt Reeves for that, man. But it's just a damn shame that this movie came out in 2022 and the sequel is coming out in 2027. That's crazy. That's 5 years, right? 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Yeah, that's 5 years. The Batman Part 2 will finally begin filming in spring 2026 for an October 2027 theatrical release. Pattinson, who's gone from filming Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey to Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 3 this year alone, returns in the title role. Warner Bros. Discovery shareholder later celebrated the recent success of James Gunn's Superman, which kicked off the new DC universe across film and television. The tentpole has earned nearly $550 million counting worldwide. The company wrote DC Studios' universe of characters represents not only one of Warner Bros. Discovery's most valuable pieces of intellectual property, but one of the most valuable assets in entertainment. In the film, James Gunn is busy preparing the next installments of the DC Super family, including Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Clayface, and the next Wonder Woman. In addition, The Batman 2 is preparing to begin shooting next spring amongst several other projects in development. The 10-year vision for the DC Universe also includes an exciting array of television projects, including The Penguin, the upcoming new season of Pacemaker, and the debut of Lanterns in 2026. I'm very excited about Lanterns. What's the guy's name? Jon Stewart, who's going to be portrayed by Aaron Pierre. He's going to be the star of this Lantern series. And I hope that this series could be successful enough to where Jon Stewart's Green Lantern gets a solo movie, because everybody knows that Jon Stewart is the coolest and the best Green Lantern, right? In a precise and measured way, the DC franchise will increasingly overlay across the studio's broader efforts, from film and TV to consumer products, games, experiences, and social. Fans have been waiting years for a sequel to Reeves and Pattinson's The Batman, which opened in theaters March 2022 and grossed $772 million at the worldwide box office. It's been a long development road for the Batman sequel, which Warner Bros. Delayed last year from October 2nd, 2026 to October 1st, 2027. Warner Bros. Confirmed to Variety on June 27th that Reeves and has finally completed the script. So I was wrong. So it was supposed to come out in 2026, which is way too long, bro. If the movie came out in 2022, the next movie should come out no longer than 2024, bro. 2026 is crazy. So the movie was supposed to come out next year from 2022, and then they pushed it back another year. That's ridiculous, bro. Like I said, guys, by the time this movie actually gets filmed and it eventually comes out, Robert Pattinson's probably going to be in his 40s. How old is Robert Pattinson? Let me look it up real quick, because he looked old as shit in the Batman, right? Now, even if you like the Batman, can you guys at least agree with me that Robert Pattinson looked old as shit? Oh my God, Robert Pattinson is 39 years old. No wonder why he looks so fucking old in the Batman. He was probably 30, he was in his mid-30s already. So think about this, guys. By the time that this movie comes out, right? Because remember, we're in 2025. It's not coming out in 2026. It's coming out in late 2027, right? So that's another 2 years. So by the time this movie comes out, Robert Pattinson is going to be 41, close to 42 years old. That is insane. That is insane, bro. And I'm telling you guys right now, after this movie eventually comes out, there's not going to be the Batman 3. I can almost guarantee you, because Robert Pattinson is going to be too old. There is no way they're going to put out The Batman Part 3. This second one is going to be the last one, and they better make sure they do a good job, man. That's crazy, bro. Let's see what else they got to say. While the Batman sequel will now open more than 5 years after the original, Gunn has often defended the delay on social media by writing, "To be fair, a 5-year gap or more is fairly common in sequels. 7 years between Alien and Aliens, 14 years between Incredibles, 7 years between the first two Terminators. Okay, James Gunn, you're making yourself sound stupid because you're comparing the Batman to movies where age doesn't matter, right? And in those movies, like first of all, we're talking about Batman, right? You don't want Batman to be too old because you don't want Bruce Wayne to be too old. Now, if you're planning on Robert Pattinson in the third Batman portraying the older Bruce Wayne, okay, cool. But at the end of the day, there's no reason why it should take 7 years for them to come out with a sequel to the Batman. The first one was very successful. It made close to $1 billion in the box office, right? There's no reason why it should take so long for the sequel, bro. I don't care what James Gunn is just saying a bunch of bullshit. Matt Reeves is committed to making the best film he possibly can, which I respect. I already said that. And no one can accurately guess exactly how long a script will take. Gunn added in the separate post, once there is a finished script, there is around 2 years for pre-production, shooting, and post-production on big films. Now, I will say this, right? James Gunn, I'm going to end the video off like this. James Gunn, if you knew that Matt Reeves was going to take 6 to 7 years to make a sequel to the Batman, why haven't we got a DC Universe Batman? Because that would have kept DC fans satisfied, right? Once you realize that a movie that was filmed in 2022, right? Once we heard that the sequel wasn't coming out till 2026, that's 23, 24, that's 4 years, you could have already chose who you want to play the DC Universe Batman, because you've already came out and said that the DC Universe Batman is not going to be Robert Pattinson. Okay, cool. So you could have came out with a DC Universe solo Batman movie in 2024. You could have came out with that this year. As a matter of fact, James Gunn, if you really want to, you can choose who you want to play the DC Universe Batman right now. Find a director that can come up with a script by the end of the year, because we're in August, right? So you still have September, October, November, December. You can hire somebody and give them 4 months to write the script for the DC Universe Batman. You can find somebody to play the DC Universe Batman, right? You can try to start filming the movie by December, January. And worst case scenario, you know, you could have the movie possibly come out towards the end of next year, just to keep the fans satisfied, because Superman just did extremely well. You don't want that momentum to die off, right? You don't want the momentum from Superman to die off to where the fans got to wait 2 years after Superman to get the Batman 2. That's way too long, bro. James Gunn, if you're listening to this video, brother, find who you want to play the DC Universe Batman. Get somebody to write the script by the end of the year and film the movie and have it come out. Have it come out as soon as possible, bro. That's my thoughts on this, man. It's your boy Wavy. Stay Wavy TV. Let me know what you guys think about this. Are you excited for the Batman 2? Do you think Robert Pattinson will be too old to make a Batman 3 after the second one comes out, since we now know that the Batman 2 isn't coming out until 2027? Let me know in the comment section, man. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out.